discussing about self-awareness. So you all did a small exercise where you asked yourself the first question, who am I? And the second question, what is it that I like about myself? And what is it that I dislike about myself? And you have written your answers, you have shared also. So self-awareness is basically knowing ourselves, our abilities and limitations, so that we can become self aware. And once we are self aware, we can see how we can increase our positives and decrease our negatives. Awareness is the key to change. If we are unaware, then we will not be able to change ourselves. Nobody is perfect. Though we all say that, if somebody points out to us that this is not right in you, we somehow don't like it. We don't want others to point out what we consider as not our plus points. So, if somebody points out that to us, we instead of responding, we start reacting. So, we will become angry, irritable, upset, sad, or whatever, and we start reacting to it instead of asking ourselves what that person said, is it true about me or is it not true about me? If it is not true about me, then I needn't bother myself. If it is true about me, is it something that I need to change? If I need to change, what is it that I need to do? So these are the things that we need to work on if we are ready to accept ourselves. So self acceptance is part of self awareness, and self improvement is also part of self awareness. So for these things to happen, we need to have self awareness, and there are a variety of exercises which are there in life skills training to make us become self aware. And self awareness is very important for self esteem and self efficacy, that is, making ourselves more efficient and um, uh, better managing ourselves. The next skill is empathy. What is empathy? Empathy is recognizing the emotion that the other person is going through. If we commonly observe, if someone very close to us is crying, tears come to our eyes also. We may not be so much affected by an event which has made the other person cry. But if the person is very close to us and they are near to us and they are crying, somehow our emotions respond to their emotions. We start feeling or experiencing emotion that they are facing. Is when you really feel that you are experiencing the same emotion as the other person is experiencing. So it is the ability to imagine what life is like for another person, even in a situation that we might not be familiar with. This skill helps the person to identify the problems that are done. For example, where the men of the family were shot in front of the women and children, their wives and children, we all felt very angry and helpless and also very sad. So, imagining ourselves to be in that situation is what empathy is. Feeling sorry for the victims, like world over leaders have said that we are very sorry. And why is empathy important? Empathy is important because when we are dealing with people who are not like us, who don't look like us, and who may be marginalized, who may be in a situation which is disadvantageous to them, about which we may not be aware, but yet we must be able to understand how they would feel in such situations. That is why empathy is a far better way of understanding people than sympathizing. Because when you sympathize, if you sympathize with somebody, that person may sometimes be angry and say, you don't know what you are talking about because you have never faced this. You have never faced rejection, you have never faced poverty, or you have never faced failure, so you will never know what I am feeling. So that type of an answer will not come if you can be empathetic. That is, feeling as though you are in the shoes of that person. That feeling is called as empathy. Okay. So empathetic behavior, feeling empathy is something that is very, very important life skill, especially in the psychological skills. And it is one of the components of what we call as emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence. As you may be very well aware, there are various types of intelligence. Academic intelligence is only one of the types. There are multiple types of intelligence which are recorded now by the psychologists. Emotional intelligence is one such set of intelligence traits. So, emotional intelligence is very important for being a successful human being, and empathy is part of an emotionally intelligent person's repertoire. Under psychological stress or skills, we need to look at two other things. One is coping with stress, and second is coping with emotions. We are all familiar with the word stress, right? Stress is the response of the human body to a very demanding or difficult or discomforting situation. It can be caused by an imbalance between the demands placed on the individual and the available resources, or the resources the individual has in his hands. So, stress happens when we feel inadequate about what we are equipped with or what we have got with ourselves. When we are faced with a situation which is beyond our capacity or what we feel as beyond our abilities, that is when we are faced with stress. When I talked about students in Kota in Rajasthan giving up on life and committing suicide or attempting suicide, because at that particular time they feel that they don't have the ability or the resources to or the energy to continue with the rigors of the academic pressure. So in such cases, they are not able to feel the cope with the stress which is going on there, and that makes them extremely vulnerable and attempt deliberate self-harm. So this is where the emotional intelligence comes, problem solving comes, decision making comes, and when where that is where the mentors are the teachers and the coaches in the institution and the parents and other supports. They have to step in to help the child or the individual young adult to be able to get him out of such negative thinking about himself and his abilities or herself and her problems, and be able to get them out of that negative state of mind and make them emotionally strong to deal with the pressures which are there. And coping with stress, it depends on two types of, again, coping with stress can be a skill which can be taught, and there are two types of coping styles. One is called problem focused coping style, and another is called emotion focused coping style. And these two strategies definitely help in dealing with coping with the stress. Now, stress can be caused by external environment, stress can be caused by the internal environment or internal uh, conflicts, which can happen due to various reasons. So, under such circumstances, coping with stress can be emotion focused or it can be problem focused. When it is problem focused, it can be better handled because there are some concrete steps that can be taken to resolve that particular problem. Whereas when it is internal struggles, it is more of emotion focused coping, and that requires again empathy and other emotionally stabilizing patterns. For that, what is important is coping with emotions. That means, first of all, recognizing, that is the fourth type of life skill that we are talking about under emotional skills or psychological skills, that is coping with emotions. That means recognizing what are our emotions strongly present in us at this particular moment, and what are the emotions that are going on in the other person, being aware of how emotions influence the behavior and being able to respond to emotions appropriately. This skill, like I have mentioned, is linked to empathy and further linked to emotional intelligence. So in a, a, a rehabilitation center where I was working, every day morning we had something called morning meeting. And in the morning meeting, we used to start by how we have started our day. And in the end, we would express how we are feeling at that moment and how we are feeling at that time of the day. Like I would say, I am feeling good about myself. Or somebody else may say, I am feeling angry. Somebody may say, I am feeling upset. So, all of us who are there in the group know that somebody has expressed an emotion which may be positive or which may not be positive. When the person has stated their emotional state of mind, like for example, if somebody has said, I am feeling upset today or I am feeling angry today, if they behave in a way that is not so conducive to the group, at least other group members are able to attribute it to the emotional state that they are in. They are able to recognize and probably empathize. The person who has said, I am angry today, and shouts at somebody, the other person may be able to say, okay, that person had mentioned that they are angry today, so it is better to leave it. Whatever that person is doing or saying is not because he generally feels that way or she generally feels that way, but it is because that person has been angry from the morning. So, this type of awareness helps in reducing conflicts at workplace. So, understanding our emotions, recognizing our emotions, and expressing our emotions in a harmless way, in an environment which is more filled with acceptance, is what facilitates in coping with our emotions. Or if you say in front of your friend that I am feeling upset today, at least the friend might ask, what made you feel upset? And if you are able to share that emotion with them and the reason for it, then you may start feeling better. That process is called as ventilation. That is expressing and getting it out of your system. That is one way of coping with our emotions. So, emotional intelligence, including empathy, coping with emotions, and coping with stress and self awareness. These are very important life skills which are part of the psychological skills. Now we go to social or interpersonal skills, the last set of three components given by WHO under the life skills. So, under this, we have two major headings. One is communication, effective communication skills. So, communication is derived from the Latin word communis, meaning common. That means we communicate that which is common to us. It facilitates common bonding. It helps in reaching out. It helps in meeting up. It helps in facilitating and building relationships. So, communication is part of the social or interpersonal skills. And it is a set of skills that enables a person to convey information and also receive information, and most importantly, understand and respond to that communication or the message that we have received. So every communication, I am sure all of you are familiar with this. It has a sender, it has a receiver, it has a message, and it has a medium through which it is conveyed, and last one, it has to be responded with a reply. So, sender may be you, and your students may be the receivers. And what is the medium through which you send? It may be your classroom teaching. And what is the message? The message is your hard skills or your subjects. And what is it that you expect from your students that they have understood? How will you know that? It is either when they answer your questions orally, or they clarify doubts, or they answer the tests well. These are the ways in which you receive a reply to what you have communicated. So these are the components of a message, which is basically about a completion of a communication cycle. So communication skill is very important. So under communication, we have a number of skills required. We will discuss it when I put up my next slide. The next skill, that is the last skill under the 10 generic skills which we have earlier introduced, is interpersonal skill. That means interacting with people around us, the environment around us, and our professional contacts and personal contacts. So it means to understand our relationships with people with whom we interact and then relate to them in a positive and reciprocal manner. And these interpersonal relations are very, very crucial for us to lead a well adjusted life in a society. If we are living by ourselves, all by ourselves, and not at all in touch with any human beings, then probably we don't need interpersonal skills. But living in that way is almost impossible in this world. Even if, let us say, even during COVID times, if we were not viewing people face to face, at least we had digital connectivity. So there is no way that we are totally cut off from everybody. It is not possible in today's world. So under those circumstances, interpersonal skills are very, very important to have a harmonious relationship with people. And under interpersonal relationships, there are various subcategories, but one of three important skill sets under interpersonal skills are conflict resolution, negotiation, and networking. Conflict resolution is when there are differences of opinion leading to fights. How to stop us from getting into fights and how best to resolve the differences that come up that we have got. It may be academic differences, it may be administrative differences, it may be personal differences, it may be difference in attitude, viewpoints. Sometimes we quarrel because we are affiliated to two different political viewpoints, and for that reason we quarrel and we stop talking. Election will be over and whoever has to win would have won, and then already the 5-year term may be over and new election may be taking place. Still we won't be talking to one another because of the difference in our viewpoint. So these are the things that we need to consider when we are talking about conflicts. So how to resolve conflict? First of all, is it possible to not get into conflict? If we do get into conflict, how best to resolve it? So this is one of the interpersonal skills. Then negotiation. When do we negotiate? When we know that there is no solution to the conflict. Okay, when it is not possible to. We get into negotiation over interstate water distribution from upper riparian states and lower riparian states. Because anyway, water will have to flow. However many dams you may put up, when the dams are full, you will have to release the water. So, under such circumstances, we need to negotiate with the lower riparian states and upper riparian states how best to give a mutually acceptable solution. So, under that circumstance, of course, I'm talking about a big issue, but negotiations happen in the house, let us say between two kids when they have one mango. If they have to share one mango, how will they share it? Or if they have to take turns to play on a swing, how will they negotiate? So, from such a simple task to something very complex, like a discussion among husband and wife as to who has to do which activity in the house, who has to wash the clothes, who has to dry the clothes, who has to fold the clothes, and who has to keep it in the cupboard. So, negotiation is required even in these things. So, conflict resolution, negotiation, and networking. What is networking? Establishing connections and maintaining connections with people. That is called as networking. We are not talking about telephone networking or wireless networking here. We are talking about networking with people. So while networking, we need to see how best we can maintain relationships so that they can help in our interpersonal interactions. So these two, that is effective communication and interpersonal skills, are very, very important skills under social skills category. Now, under interpersonal skills, we have leadership, we have teamwork, and other related organizational skills related activities, which all come under. Of course, I have mentioned only about conflict resolution and negotiation and networking, but these are not just the skills of interpersonal relationship, leadership, team building, or teamwork, and being a leader or a follower or a pacifier. There are many roles which are taken by people in a team, or troubleshooter. So a number of, depending on the personality and the task match in a team, the tasks are allotted by the leader or the team manager. When you study organizational psychology, it is all these things come in more detail. So now, an activity for you. Of course, we agreed that skill, we have already discussed this. Life skill, it is a skill because it is a learnt behavior. So, how do we teach life skills? Quickly, can you share what are the techniques to impart the life skills? We will take 2 minutes only for this. So, techniques for imparting life skills. Can you just jot down few of the teaching methodologies which can be followed to impart life skills? Quickly in the chat box. Okay, thank you. You have all done wonderfully well. Now, let us look at some of the things that I have put up. Okay. Methods and techniques to impart life skills training. Life skills education refers to a behavioral change or behavioral development designed to address the balance of three areas, that is, knowledge, attitude, and skills. So, three important aspects of training is first give them knowledge. Like I shared with you what are the types of skills and what are the components of generic life skills given by WHO. That is giving knowledge. And then I have not given you a specific activity for attitude. But some of the skills, how to impart, I have incorporated a couple of activities which are like paper and pen activities. Instead of paper and pen, here we have used the chat box and our uh, fingers to type out our answer. Okay. Now, teaching life skill differs from the traditional teaching methods of classroom lecture. Obviously, like how all of you have mentioned. Life skills are activity based skills. That means you engage them actively to participate, and like one of you had mentioned, Madi no ಮಾಡಿ ನೋಡಿ ಕಲಿ ಮಾಡಿ ತಿಳಿ. Okay, you observe and learn, and you do it and you learn it how to go about it. So activity based learning techniques are best suited method for imparting life skills. You may say, you after you say hello, you have to say this, introduce yourself, that is all. But how does a person introduce himself? One is you have to show by introducing yourself and telling that once you have introduced by your name, you have to say you are from which place and what is your educational background and why you are here. These are the four questions to which you have to answer when you are introducing yourself. And then you will have to ask each student to come, stand in front of you and answer these questions in a cohesive, smooth manner. And then you will ask that student to improve upon his verbal and non-verbal communication. That means making an eye contact while introducing himself and giving his verbal responses smoothly. How to go about smoothly introducing yourself? You need to practice. So make the student to practice 2 to 3 times and then tell them to practice it in front of a mirror so that they see how their facial expression is and how they are standing or sitting and using their hand gestures while they are introducing themselves. So these are the practical aspects of giving an activity based learning uh, for life skill training. So for these activities to be effective, the best method is to work in small groups of 5 to 10 or maximum 12 students, not more than that. Why is it so? Because we can pay attention to each individual when they are in smaller groups. If it is a class of 60 people, and if we ask one student to come and introduce himself or herself uh, in facing 60 people, many students have a great difficulty in speaking in front of an audience. They have a fear of facing the audience. Under such circumstances, because of the fear, they won't be able to speak it. So the purpose of trying to impart a good communication skill and building a self-confident student fails. So if that should not happen, then a small group setting is better. And when we talk about learning, rote learning is commonly seen in younger children or lower classrooms. Here you are teaching almost young adults, adolescents, late adolescents, and young adults. So for them, adult teaching techniques have to be adopted. And adult teaching techniques require participatory approach for them to be more involved in the class activity. For that to happen, activity-based learning techniques will help. So I have listed few of the activity-based learning techniques. Let me just brief you. More information on this you can get through internet always. So that is not an issue. Getting information is not at all a difficult task, but how to implement it in your own settings is what you need to learn and practice. So I have listed these techniques, training skills in alphabetical order. That is all. There is nothing like one is more important than the other. Depending on the limitations of the classroom, available time, and also the subject in which you are dealing with, these activities can be appropriately tweaked or intermixed or done one after the other also. One of the most effective methods is use of audio visual aids. Some of you had mentioned about showing videos. Okay, that is one method. The other one is using the audio visual medium of dance, drama, music, art, and so on. Using those mediums to be expressive. Most silent students also become active participants in college cultural events. They start mingling, they start less inhibited and being less inhibited and becoming more open under those informal cultural events. So, making the student to participate in some of those talent shows can be an effective method to start making them to be able to speak out loud, be able to express themselves, and be able to start mingling with people. So that is one of the activities which we can think of. Then, importantly, brainstorming. We have a task on hand. Then, how do we go about resolving this task or completing this task? For example, we have to host inter-college debate competition. Then, while involving students, you may ask the students, what are the things that we need to do? So, this can go as, a discussion. Along with the discussion, there is brainstorming for ideas, how we can do it differently. So that is what it is, creativity, and also critical thinking. What are our resources? What is available? And what are the hurdles to organize this program? How to overcome it? Overcome it. So we are using 3 to 4 types of life skills while conducting a particular activity. And obviously, interpersonal skills and communication skills will be going hand in hand. Then, case study. In the classrooms, instead of lectures, we can bring respective our subject related case studies, simple ones of probably 5 to 6 lines. I put it to the class and ask class to be divided into smaller groups, and each group can come out with solutions to the case study. That can be an effective method for involving them in participation and effectively looking for communicating what they have as a group decided upon. We can use like audio visual aids, including making charts, presenting on the board, or quickly making PPT if the college has facilities for that, or small videos and then bring it to the class. So any of these methods can be used for presentation of what they have brought out under case study. Then community outreach activities. This is commonly carried out under the umbrella of NSS, but it need not be limited to NSS and NSS coordinator. Any type of community outreach related to your subject, let us say, how to involve, because new education policy looks at training students to become skilled. Skilled means being able to get employment. Okay, that is why internship is also being made compulsory. So under these circumstances of new education policy, whether it is of the state or of the center, whatever those issues may be, let us not get into that. But our aim is to make sure that our students are employable. And how to make them employable? Make them strong in the subject, that is hard skill. They have to learn. There is no shortcut to it. And the second one is to make them proficient in soft skills so that they can sell themselves to their employers. So for these two things, we need to also help them to get the technique of outreach, how to reach out to people, how to convince people, how to educate people. So these are the things which we can teach to students through practical learning. The society becomes our laboratory for live experimentation. Then within classroom debates, discussions, and also these debates and discussions on some of the topics which can be, like for example, you can just say third gender people have no rights. They should not be given rights in the society. Or women should be subordinate to men. You know, these type of topics bring out the attitudes of the students about a particular issue. So those topics will bring out emotions also. They bring out logical thinking also. They bring out critical thinking also. So involving the students in debates in an informal atmosphere can facilitate learning process. Then games and simulation. Like games, like I said, for life skills purpose, there are a number of paper and pen activities and also do by hand activities. All these are available online in various websites, including those materials which are published by WHO. Manuals are published on life skills. And of course, our NCERT has also published manuals on how to impart life skills. So all the exercises or activities are listed out there and they are explained as to how it has to be carried out. All you have to do is follow the instructions and adopt it to your classroom. Then you can very successfully conduct those activities. And definitely you can see a change in interaction level among students when you conduct these activities. What is simulation? Lifelike situation. For example, before Pahalgaon counter attack, the government said we are going to have a mock emergency response. In each state's certain districts, these activities were carried out in specific places. So what is that? That is a simulation. Real life like situation which imitates the and also prepares the people to respond in an emergency situation. Similarly, fire drills are carried out by fire brigade. How do they do that? They just simulate a fire like emergency, and all the students and teachers and the staff, other staff of the college will have to evacuate the building for a short period of time in the systematic way which has been already instructed to them by the fire brigade personnel or by the teachers. They have to follow that protocol, and that simulation helps them in case of a real danger. Those of you who have learned car driving through agencies, they have a simulation where you are given 3D spectacles and steering and brake and accelerator of a car, uh, and you are asked to drive as though you are on the road. But actually, you are sitting in one particular place and you are imitating the actions of driving a car. So that is also simulation. Simulation is like how you would create a lab-like environment in the imagination and make people to respond to the situational demands. Then we have group discussion and presentation. That is, small groups are formed and the groups have to take a topic and they have to present it. Then we have field visits. That means organizing visits to wherever you have to take them. Again, giving students responsibility to organize. For example, common point for them to join and one of them to give welcome, another for vote of thanks, another for summating, and few more for volunteers for doing whatever activities which have to be done. So all these things are part of the field visit. And as the learnings which happen due to field visit, this is different from study tours. Please remember, field visits happen within your, nearby areas within your study, within your city. You don't have to take students out of, college for a long time and not need not involve spending lot of money on transport. You can use public transport also for this, or ask the students to join at a particular place and then you do a particular activity in that particular field of study, and then you return to your respective places. So field visits are a very effective way to impart not just life skills, even subject matter. Then flipped classroom. Here, the students are already given the assignments the previous day or previous week. They are asked to come prepared to do something in the class related to your subject. It's a hardcore. Okay. So you ask them to come prepared to do an experiment in the class or in the lab or whatever it may be. So they would have already completed the part of reading about it. Pre-reading material is circulated beforehand. They come prepared with that particular topics and then a discussion takes place. So instead of teacher teaching the students themselves will come back with solutions to whatever that particular topic is requiring. Then infusion. Infusion is when you practically demonstrate the usefulness of whatever theory they have learned. Application of theory to practice. That is what is infusion. And not just in one discipline, it is an interdisciplinary, intradisciplinary, transdisciplinary activity. That means whatever may be the combination of subjects that they are reading, how they relate it to real life and how it can be implemented. For example, they are discussing about union budget or state budget and how funds are allocated and what are the liabilities, what are the uh, incoming credits to the exchequer. So these are the things when they discuss banking, how it can be applied to real life situation. When they talk about national budget, how we talk about our monthly budget, how we can do budgeting in our day-to-day life, and it is being done automatically, and how we can extrapolate it to a state level or national level, and why is it important for budgeting and for a nation and for groups as well as for individuals, and why everybody should have a plan for their financial security. From then on, it starts becoming both combination of life skills or soft skills as well as hard skills. So like that, we can include these activity-based learning in our hard skills training also. Then practical group assignments. Like each group is given a task to go do the field visit, do bring out their learnings along with the photographs, because nowadays I'm very sure everybody has access to mobile and everybody is a selfie pro, so they know how to take pics. They can make short videos and present their group assignments through those videos in there with the help of a small projector or even on a laptop or classroom computer screen. Desktop screen also they can use for projecting. So smart classrooms, if they are there, then well and good. They can just do it. So all these things, again, practical things, help them if when they go out for a job training. Then we have more of theater-based activities like miming, role play, storytelling. These are some of the activities which are basically from theater or drama related activities. Role play is where you are able to uh, empathize a lot. Storytelling is a good way of improving the communication and your narrative skills. And then we have some activities where students are very, very shy and they are not able to open up at all. For such students, we have think, pair, and share activities. We give a small topic. We ask two people to sit together, discuss about it, and then that is pairing. And then what is their collective wisdom about whatever topic they have given, they will speak about it in the class. Then, like many of you have mentioned, workshops, practical training workshops for life skills training and also for subject specific training. So these are few of the activity based life skill training. This is not all exclusive, like I mentioned. It is only a small part of the activities which we can use to impart life skills. Um, are there any doubts with regard to these life skills? Uh, if they are, I would ask you to put it in the chat box, please. Otherwise, we are going to go for another activity which is going to take a little more time. Any questions about any of these techniques or whatever I have presented so far? If you have any questions, Dr. Soumya has written, no, madam. Any other, any questions, any clarifications? Okay, then I will move on to the next activity. Okay, this is for everyone. All of you, again in the chat box, you take about 10 minutes for this activity. Okay, because it requires some amount of thinking. Propose one activity based technique which you are practicing or can practice in your class. Okay, we have mentioned so many techniques here. Some of you may be already doing this in your classrooms. Some of you may be thinking now, can I incorporate any of this in my class? Okay. So what can the proposed activity, what is that activity? How you plan to go about it? And what can the proposed activity teach the students? Obviously, one of the hard skills it will teach. I am talking about soft skills. What soft skills can this proposed activity teach to your students? And type it out in the chat box. So, please start the activity now. It is time is 12:40. By 12:50, I want the answers for this from everyone. I am seeing that only about 15 to 20 people are responding, and there are nearly 46 participants here. So I would expect 46 answers in the chat box. 46 of which, okay, remove two. The two are like myself and the MMTC administrator. Other than that, that means 44 answers. I want 44 answers for this. So please start the activity. That means you have to propose how you will implement any of this activity based life skill and into it in your regular classrooms, because I know we are all uh, limited by time constraint, syllabus completion, and then our tests, our exams, our submissions, and so many other activities are there. We, each one of us will have a lot of things going on, and not just for one class students. We will be taking so many classes. I don't want you to simply list out, okay? I want you to give a proposal, like a project proposal, okay? It should be like, I want to conduct this particular group activity, or I want to conduct a group discussion, one group discussion per semester. Likewise, I want detailed this thing, proposal. And through that, how many students you are going to involve in them, in the activities, and what do you expect those students to learn apart from your subject. Of course, your subject they will learn. Along with the subject, what else will they learn? Which life skill they will learn by taking part in this activity. That is how I want your proposal to be. That's why I have given you 10 minutes time, so that you can think of it and put it as a proposal. I want that commitment from you. That is why I am asking you to do it as in an as detailed way as possible. Please. So I don't want, single word answers. Seminar, somebody has mentioned, for example, what is the topic of the seminar? You want to do it once a year. How will you get the funding? How will you involve the students in that? What activities you will involve the students while conducting the seminar? What are your resources? I want this type of details also in whatever you have proposed. Somebody has mentioned group activities. So what group activity? And how you plan to go about it? What are the topics that you want to take it up? And what is the frequency of the activity? What is the financial commitment for the activity? And where is the time for that activity? Okay, Shardamma madam has written, I want to conduct quiz competition regarding the topic. What is the topic? How much time you need for it? And what is the preparation? Do you propose to keep a prize for it? Do you want to have judges for it? And all this, you need to be very, very detailed as possible about this. Somebody has written brainstorming activities. So about what topic you want to brainstorm? So likewise, I want a detailed project proposal. Take your time. Think quickly. Understand your class situation, number of students you have. Like some government colleges have, with particular combination, will have 100 students. So how will you involve those 100 students also? And some of them may be very active. They want to talk more. They want to take leadership. There are many others who don't come at all. They are uninvolved. How will you involve them? So likewise, I want you to think and then give your proposal. Yeah, Chandrappa sir has written encourage active participation. So, Chandrappa sir, how will you do that active participation is what I am asking. What do you mean by active participation? And from all students, how will you ensure that they are participating? That is all. Yes, sir. Jayana, sir, I am reading your proposal. You want to take them for an industrial visit for chemical
Yes,
process observation, operation
yes, ma'am.
observation. Very good, sir. Now, I want you to also see how it is going to help them in understanding life skills also. How do you propose to involve students? Do you propose that the student should contact an industry? They will send an email and then they will get a reply. They will follow it up. How that is what I am looking at. Can is it is implementable? Will you take all responsibility, or will you give responsibility to the students so that they are able to learn these skills? That is what I am looking at. Okay, so please continue to add to your message.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Bindu madam, same thing for you. You have listed out seminar, group discussion, debate, case study. Fine. Take one of them and then you tell as to how you will conduct this activity. That is all. That is how I want. Written, I want to conduct seminars on monthly basis. Each student by giving life skills topic and using IQAC coordinator as a judge. Fine, madam. But again, it becomes an individual one and it is an individual activity. How will, just by getting knowledge about life skills, the individual will not be able to practice it. So, practically, of course, seminar will help in presentation skills, definitely, no doubt about it. Along with it, can something else be added to it? And also IQAC coordinator, all the time will that person have time to sit as a judge is another question. So check it out, madam, how to further improve it.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Welcome. Pooja madam has written debates and group discussion. Students divided into groups. Each member has to put forth their thoughts. It would be done in informal setting. I would do it twice in a semester. Fine, madam. It can go definitely, but will you have the time for it? Because group discussion will take time. First of all, making groups itself, and after making the groups, ensuring that everybody participates, and informal setting, fine, all this can be done, put forth, and practically made. It is possible. I wish that you do it also once you go back to your college. Okay, Venkatesh sir has written one group discussion after completing every chapter of the syllabus. Every time a group of students will initiate the discussion so that students will be able to summarize what they learned in the chapter. They can collaborate with each other. This helps in improving communication, leadership, confidence, self-awareness, and obviously the subject knowledge. This is something very feasible, sir. I hope that you will be able to do it. And
Thank you.
then Dr. Khalida has written seminar on financial literacy sponsored by CSR, supported by companies. Nice, madam. But how will you involve the students in the activity is what you need to look at for them to learn life skills. That is all I can say. Nitty-gritties you can work out later. Jayana sir, I will guide the students regarding communication with the collaboration organization or industry. So students themselves involved in learning how to communicate. What are the processes in getting permission, protocol should be followed. Everything will be learnt by the students. Yes, sir, definitely one activity per semester can help a lot. These types of field visits will definitely be good. Tehseen has written Group activity like conducting PPT, make them interested, field visit, study tour. Madam, too many activities. So, see which one you will take up. If you are able to do everything in 1 or 2 semesters or in one academic year, you decide. See, all these activities are very much possible. What I am looking at is trying to make you get your commitment to do it in your classes. That is all. So definitely it is possible, madam, but how will you implement is what we are looking at. Now, how many people have answered? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Study more and do more. So I carried out 15-20 minutes group meditation. Fine, sir. But continue with that work, and also how further you can extend the activity is what you can think about. Amrita madam, I have been conducting story building activities to students. Students are divided into groups. Each group should continue the story told by other. Themselves should give point to the story to increase creative thinking. Yes. Fine, madam. Jagdish sir, you have just listed seminar, group discussion, debate and case study. How you want to implement it in your class is what I am looking for. Same with Syed Barkhat sir and Sharana Basava sir. You have just listed the activity. I want you to tell me or type it out how you are going to do it. Amrita madam has written again. Seminar. After completing each unit, I will distribute. They will get public speaking and presentation skill, critical thinking, time management, problem solving. Okay. Tanuja madam, you have listed seminar and group discussion. I want a more solid commitment. Sindhuji conducting seminar using ICT tools, creates interest, develop the use of modern technology. Right, madam. But how often you want to conduct it, and the frequency of it, if there is any, let us say, financial or internet related issues when they have to do this, also that they are the things that you need to fine tune. Parshuram, sir, giving different topic to each student on different subjects like communication, personality development, computer knowledge. Tell them to give a seminar. Sir, my one comment about seminars is that it is an individual activity, so collaboration does not happen. Presentation skills they will learn, definitely there is no doubt about it, but it becomes more of a knowledge based activity than a skill based activity, except for PPT and presentation. So can we improvise on seminar is what I ask for everybody who has given seminar. Okay, Shardama madam has written, I will conduct the quiz. Right, madam. One idea about quiz is that instead of you framing questions, you can make, let us say you have made 3 groups. Each group will be asked to make few questions on the chapter which has been completed. They will make multiple choice questions or whatever is the quiz format. And the conductor will be one person from that group only. He will ask the other 2 groups to respond. And there will be one person who will do the scoring for each group. Once one group finishes, the other group person will come and they will conduct the quiz. Every group is asked to make 5 questions or 6 questions or whatever. And then it is tallied and marks are given. That means they interact on that topic amongst themselves. So that is one way to help students to increase their communication. And then we will take up question answers or further discussions. So finally, learning life skills is not a one-time activity. Obviously, it's a process of learning a lifestyle which paves the way for success, right? You can't learn communication skill in the classroom and forget it there only. It does not happen, right? If you have learned communication skills, you will adapt it in various settings. So, what we need to see is that life skills, once you learn, there is nothing like you are going to unlearn it. And it is for your lifelong. So it's a process of learning a lifestyle which paves the way for success. And life skills need to be practiced on a day-to-day basis. It has to be a continuous, ongoing activity. Only then will, the person is able to make it part of himself. And then when it becomes part of himself, then the personality development that we talked about, or self-efficacy, enhanced self-efficacy can happen. And that will lead to a well-adjusted and productive life. That is what is the ultimate aim of all life skills training. And two important factors we all must remember. Externally, we can give everything, but the motivation of the individual is also equally important for a successful life skills training. Now, even in life skills training, what I have seen is that peer pressure helps, peer motivation helps. The friend circle, if they are a very positive friend circle, then the individual's ability to participate, to elevate himself to the level of his friends helps. And the motivation to excel becomes stronger. So that is one important internal motivational factor. And the second one is the encouragement and support given by the environment. So that encouraging and supporting environment is the atmosphere in the college, because we don't know about home environment. There can be so many things which are going okay or not okay in the personal life of the individual. But if we give a very supportive environment in the college, definitely it can help in building the personality. Now we all must remember that we tend to always recall the teachers from our primary schools as the best role models, because they leave a lasting impression on us. But if you talk about teachers who made a difference to the way in which we think, we usually talk about teachers in our degree college and also post graduation, right? Those teachers make a difference to us because they help in building our thought process, the way we think, the way we view things, the way we build our personality. So, teachers at graduate and postgraduate level matter the most for the development of oneself. Independent thinking ability about so many tasks will come only when they have started or they have been helped by such teachers. So they become the motivators. That is what the next point I want to stress upon. Role models play a very important role in aiming for personal excellence. When you became lecturers, assistant professors, or whatever may be the designation, you were inspired to take it up because of some persons, some dreams, something about wishing to do or make a difference to a group of youngsters, isn't it? I'm sure that is there in your mind when you are talking about becoming a lecturer or a teacher uh, or a faculty, let us say. So, role models. Who are these role models? You are the role models. And as role models, your responsibility is more, but the joy you get out of seeing the adolescent transformed to a capable adult, that is in your hands. Those 3 or 4 years in the degree college matter the most in shaping the right knowledge, attitude, and the skills for the students. And for that to happen, the key change makers are the teachers. How you take up this task is going to make you a very popular teacher or a teacher considered to be a role model for so many of the youngsters. And if you are available to them for these types of discussions, many a times discussion does not happen in the class, it happens after the class. That is why activity based learning is important, where not just formal discussion but informal interactions can happen, where your life philosophy gets reflected to the students. And that is what makes the difference to the students to develop their personality, to develop those life skills, considering you as role models. That is important for life skills to become effective and make a life changing experience for your students. So with that, and with wishing you all the very best, I want to conclude my talk. And now the forum is open for discussion and